Sorry for the nakedness. I had a shower thought. Um, I'm wearing a towel. But I have to say this first before I forget. Because that's the rub, is we are very forgetful. It's not, it's just, it's hard to do complicated things like marriages and life with these dynamics. You have two people, you have two different lives, and you're together managing a complex problem like a household and a marriage and a family and all the problems and tasks and desires and emotions. I think the reason people struggle primarily is bad memory. Because you'll you'll go through something emotional, and you'll be in it, and you'll be stewing, you'll be figuring things out, and you'll learn something, and then some of that knowledge kind of stays with you and stuff, but a lot of it gets goes away, and that makes perfect sense because our lives are very complicated, and there's a lot. Every new day comes with a whole bunch of new experience, and you only have so much electricity in there, so much activity, so you can't live here in these things that you've learned, and you're learning this now. So this kind of, the memories are all there, but you can't recall all of them always, right? We need we need memory defragmenters. We need hacks for this, and we're going to do it right. People do that with note taking, documentation, file. Offload their memory to this kind of stuff, videos. So I've learned. My wife and I have learned so many lessons, but we fell into these cycles, and I remember it. I feel like it was only a few months ago we were like calling ourselves out. Kind of felt like she was calling me out, but I think we were just calling ourselves out. That we've been through this already. We've already learned this lesson. We feel it now in this moment. We're learning this lesson again, but like now that we're experiencing this shit again, that, oh yeah, didn't we just go through this? Didn't we learn that? Didn't we do this already? And then like it's been a few times we had to learn or had to go through something again, and that's frustrating. But how do you even solve that? Because we are who we are. We both want, when we have these big discussions, we come together with what we want. But life and the dynamics and being two different people, not communicating always, not sharing a brain, but being different. And sometimes we go different directions, and that makes things harder because now we have very different brains, and we're not connected. You have to, if you want a marriage, here's my advice to you. After we're coming up on 14 years, and I was married 6 years previous. So I've been married 20 years. Anyway, here's my advice. I can't remember what it was. I mean, I will remember, but it's recalling. I mean, in this very moment, brains suck. Maybe just mine, not just mine. Maybe some people's maybe have their systems, have their wires wired well. ADHD brains specifically have problems with memory. Okay, but here's my advice. I think this is my advice. I think that's what I was gonna say. try to communicate with the intention of getting on the same page. Doesn't matter what the page is. You're doing this marriage thing together, this life, this household, these problems together. You should be on the same page daily, and it's more important than the other things you think are important if you want to stay together. That's not for everybody. You know, a lot of people, I think, feel like their spouse is just poison. Both people will feel like that, and it's probably everywhere. My wife and I have both felt like each other is bad for some reason, and it's that we're going different directions, and we can't understand each other. We're making choices that seem selfish to the other. So I used to not preach. I used to say to myself, forgiveness and acceptance. Well, those are fine. They help. They're like band-aids. you need to think about the problem. You need to understand the problem. The problem is brains. Okay, we need to know if you want to make your life good, you need this working for the kind of problem, the problems of marriages and households and life together with, all these financial issues and credit cards and mortgages and subscriptions and work and customers, and you want that to work, you need to intentionally hack this. Not to hurt yourself or anything like that. You need to know your limitations. It's not you who are just dumb. These brains work a certain way. You need to know that. You need to think about what you are and how you're gonna forget. You have to. You have to forget. You can only think about so much. You can only retain so much context. It takes energy and electricity to have a very complex conversation, because you have to maintain all this context, and your brain has to be lit up to do that. Good luck with complicated systems. You need to write shit down. Look at me, I'm not writing down. I just got out of the shower, so forgive me. So, pro tip: take notes. Organize your notes. Probably for other things besides marriage too. Anything complicated. It's not about blame, who's right or wrong. It's just that, there's selfish choices out there, and there's violence, and there's things that, you gotta work through. And there are choices that we make that have consequences, emotional consequences, that are difficult. I could speak about that forever, but this is a video, so let's kill it at 9 minutes. Good luck.